The thumbnail, you just go with it. If your one eye's closed, too bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready to rock. And I'm like, I can already tell it's going to be an allergy day. And to be outside at the golf course, I'm like,
it's windy.
I don't care. It's going to be fun anyways. I'll sneeze. I don't care.
Live from VentureX Studios, it's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
I love it. Woo! We made it through the week. Almost. Pretty much close. So
it's close enough.
Yeah. Welcome to JP, Kathy, and the crew. I'm really excited to be with y'all today. Going to talk about some fun stuff today. Talk about a very controversial video that has gone around, and we're going to play the video for you. And the crew, we are looking for you to chime in. And well, actually, this is a very interactive show. We're looking for you to chime in on the viral video we're going to play. I'm excited. We've got a special guest. My son's coming on. He is in the next 2 weeks trying to raise a specific amount of money. And so he has done a GoFundMe account. I'll talk a little bit more about that. He's coming on around 8:30. What else are we talking about? Lathan, you've got, you were going to do a fun segment today.
Yeah, texted me last night, like, what do you want to talk about? And I happened to be, at the time, playing some music. And I said, well, let's do something music-related.
Okay, he wasn't just playing music. He was rehearsing with his band because he is cool. So there you go.
Yeah.
Let the record show.
The jury's still out on that, for sure. But, so we'll do something music-related. So, and so I tossed out a couple of questions at Kathy, like, what's your go-to karaoke song? Or if you're not a karaoke person, which I'm not.
You're in a band. I mean, you're.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like when you, and I'm not a great musician by any stretch, or
he's very talented. He's very good.
But when when you know music, or when you've grown up with it, it can be kind of a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
So like Kim and I met in concert choir in school.
Oh, I
right?
didn't know
so
that.
That's where we met. So we both have a really good ear.
Yes.
For music, we can read music pretty well.
Yep.
We can tell when something is not quite.
It's off
right.
A little baby bit.
Yeah.
Now that can be a curse.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the flip side of it. Right?
I'd be like, sounds like that's on key to me, and you're like, no,
so
it's not.
that's why I it's just I can't do karaoke.
Okay,
like me trying to walk into a karaoke joint is like
just isn't gonna work.
Yeah, like a vampire walking into church. It's just not gonna happen. Because for every person that gets up there who really can sing and does a good job, there's at least 3 who really think they can sing.
Yeah,
and I just can't deal with it. Like it makes me so uncomfortable because
it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, and it's because I don't want to come across as like being judgmental or anything. Because I don't care, but I really can't.
You're just like I just can't.
I'm terrified that I'm going to give off some impression that I'm like disgusted by what you're doing.
Right.
And which I'm not, but it is sort of like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, I can see that. And we'll talk more about that when we do the segment, because I guess now that I'm like, I've never thought about karaoke that way. I mean, I'm like, somebody will get up there, and if they're having a good time and giving it all they've got, I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, way to go.
Don't quit your day job, but good for you. So we're going to have some fun with that segment, because it was funny. We pulled up YouTube the other day, our page YouTube, our show YouTube, and a lot of times I'll be on that when I'm, searching. I've had a glass of wine and I'm searching fun old videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the most random videos pop up. I've got like the weirdest, most eclectic taste in music. Somebody'd be like, oh, no wonder she's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at her music choices,
right.
But I mean, have some fun with that. We're also going to talk about during the pandemic, and I saw this on some show I had clicked on for a few minutes the other day, and they were promoting a new game you could download on, your PC, your tablet, your phone. And I started thinking, it's interesting. Of all, like my friends who I work with professionally, who I work with here, I don't know your go-to, but I know quite a few of my friends and my family's go-to games on their phone. Now, some people don't play games at all, but the majority of folks, if they've got some downtime or they're just trying to chill out, have a game. And it's interesting sometimes if you look, I'm like, and I've got to get into the phenomenon of do you buy extra lives and stuff like that. That's a whole nother segment. But we're going to talk about that, and we want to know from the crew. We just want to have some fun today. During the pandemic, did you get hooked on a game? Was there a game because you were at home more, you weren't driving around as much, that, if you've got a spare 10 minutes, you're like, oh, I've got to level up.
Right.
Right. So I think that's interesting. And I would love to see from a psychiatrist's point of view what the game you choose that you go to more than any other game says about your personality type.
I can tell you what mine says about mine is I'm too lazy to download any other game. That's what it says.
I love it.
Yeah, because there's a solitaire app on this phone, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, but see but that's something though. That's something, that says something about your personality type and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, we'll just, I say that I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on this show. So anyway, so we're going to have some fun with that. Want to start off, and first of all, Lathan Watts, thank you so much for being on. I think we've got your show starts not this week, next
May 28th.
Yeah, so
we're the first
episode. Really, really excited about this, and we're going to be over the summer. The next couple of months, you're going to see us doing some different things with our podcasts and webcasts and the show. We've Philip, who has been a regular on This Pink Cloud. Genius in YouTube. I mean, he's got like 1 million YouTube followers. Is helping us with some of the way we break the show up, some fun ways to watch some stuff, some ways that if you're a member of the crew, you'll get to see segments that nobody else gets to see. Right. So it's science. I don't know. I just sit there and go, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that, Yeah. But anyway, so good times. And then Shambrielle. Oh, and Bree the intern's back in today. The lovely, beautiful, talented Bree the intern. We're so happy to see her. Oh, cute sandals. Let me see how sassy those are. I love those. And those so cute. Look how easily I get distracted, Lathan.
It happens.
Yeah, he's like, I've known you over 2 decades. I know that. Okay, so I'm going to send you my son's email so you can email him the Zoom link. But can we pull? Oh, here, we've got it pulled up. Okay, so we're going to put this on the screen now. This, and it's interesting. I was sent this from several folks, and Lathan and I are going to talk about it. I want to hear from the crew what your thoughts are on. And I want you to watch it first in case somebody hasn't seen it. I want to say by the time I saw it a couple of days ago, it had over 5 million views.
On the corner it says 6.7 now.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we're talking.
There it is.
Okay, so do we have this? Is there sound with this? I thought there might have been sound. Let's play this a couple of times. It's kind of jarring. So,
exactly.
Yeah, jarring in many ways.
Run.
Here we go.
You're good, get run with us. Run. You're good, get run with us. Run.
Okay.
You're good, get run with us.
So there's that, and a disclaimer. We're big. We're conservatives on this show. Oh, next week, and you'll want to tune in. We may even have you on a Zoom link to talk about this. Not talking politics today. Just want to have a fun show. But anybody who's tuned into the show knows we tend to be more positive on this show, or more positive. Well, yeah, we are. Okay, there you go. Positive and conservative.
Positively conservative.
Yeah, conservative. There, yeah. Hashtag that.
Yeah.
I went into the grocery store. I'm very much a creature of habit. The majority of the time, my once a week big grocery run, with the things that I get at this particular time of the week, and the needs for my family that are always the same every week. So this wouldn't be like, okay, I'm going to go to, Tom Thumb or Kroger because I've got to grab this, or Walmart for this, whatever. Just an average, okay, these are kind of some of the basics that we need. Usually runs me around $150. Walked out the other day and pretty much the same basket of groceries,
Right.
$179.
Yeah.
I mean, we are already
Inflation.
seeing. You got it. And so we're going to talk how the new administration has
Which
kind of pushed
is
this.
a tax on poverty, is what it is.
It really is.
It robs you of the value of what little money you have.
Well, and that's the thing. These are things that I'm like, well, okay, would I not have gotten the fresh fruit? Would I not have purchased this? Okay, well, my son needed shampoo, my husband needed body wash, and I, even, and this is kind of funny for those of you who have been with us since our radio days, JP and I, a couple of years ago, we did a dry shampoo test because JP was just cracking up because I'm obsessed with dry shampoo that smells good. And anyway, so the dry shampoo that I purchase, and I go to a certain grocery store because it's a certain price, and it's usually 50 to 75% cheaper than it is like at a Walgreens or a CVS.
Okay.
So whenever I buy dry shampoo, I go to this store to buy it. It was $1 and a few cents more than it was last month.
Right.
And I was like, oh, it's mismarked, or it's over where this one, and I buy the same brand, again, creature of habit with stuff like that. So we'll be talking about that next week. But anyway, so I said conservative, and that took me down that road.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kathy, getting back to what we were talking about. And good morning, Leilani. Well, I see you out at the golf tournament. Y'all don't forget the golf tournament that Chuck Wright is putting on that is going to help fundraise for homeless veterans is going on today. Even if you're not playing golf, you can come out and eat some lunch. That is what I will be doing. Be there for the amazing opening ceremony. So real excited about that. This video, and we're not here. Okay, so when I said conservative, I was thinking of parental rights.
Right.
People on the right tend to be very big on parental rights.
Sure.
You do. It's your child.
Yep.
You know what's best for them. That's for you and your wife. You and your partner. Anybody. That's your gig. So some people are really into sports. Some people's kids are really into sports. Some people were really into sports when they were younger. Some people aren't. But and let's show the video one more time. If somebody's just tuning in. We want to know what you think of this video. She's like, Kathy, I thought we had closed it out. Thank you very much. Bree's like, Kathy's ADD's kicking in, and she hasn't even had coffee.
And there it is.
Okay, so thoughts on. Oh, and Fred said he's going to be at the tournament today. Awesome. I'll see you there, my friend. Thoughts on this video. And Lathan, I'm going to let you start off with this. Obviously, very young children. I mean, we're talking little bitty. Like, I'm looking at him thinking I could pick him up with one arm like I do my puppy, kind of a thing.
Yeah, probably maybe 6, 7, 8 years old.
Maybe, probably a very early elementary school.
Yeah.
Early elementary school. Okay, they've got, it looks like
full
pads and
Yep.
helmets,
Yep.
which I've got a whole other thought on, flag football was the choice in our home when my son was this young. And I know you've got daughters, but you dig sports and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're like JP and I, you're a ginormous college football fan.
Exactly.
And that's something when Lathan starts his new show, by the way, definitely there will be several segments dedicated to college football. Just saying.
Yeah, it's inevitable. During college football season, it's like
you will get your fill of college football.
It's like breathing for me. It just happens. I don't even think about it. I just open my mouth and college football comes out. Yeah. And speaking of, so when you sent me this to look at, the first thing that I thought of, there's a great documentary that ESPN did on the Manning family. Now, I went to Ole Miss for law school. I was there when Eli was quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great, great time to be at Ole Miss with a Manning playing QB.
That's right.
Okay.
I think I may have seen that
I think
documentary.
It's either ESPN or SEC Network. I can't remember who did it, but
I remember
it's
that.
called The Book of Manning, and it's about the Manning family. Right?
Yes.
And the first thing I thought of was Archie Manning would not allow any of his 3 boys to play full contact football until I think they were in middle school. Like, I think he said like JV, like 8th or 9th grade.
Right.
Even though they wanted to suit up and play as soon as they possibly could. You know, and the whole thing shows them out there in their little plastic helmets playing football in the yard when they're about this size or whatever.
Yep.
But he, that was his rule because he thought they were too young to start taking hits.
And this is somebody who, I mean, we're talking
spent a career getting beat up.
This is a multi-generational football family. I mean, they live, die, and breathe it.
Yeah, and if you know anything about Archie Manning, I mean, great quarterback at Ole Miss, played for some of the worst New Orleans Saints teams ever. I mean, he spent his career running around trying to avoid getting knocked out just like this.
and it was hard.
And he took a beating.
Yes.
And I think that's why he made the decision for his kids. Like, I'm not going to start them getting hit like this until they're older.
Till their bodies are developed to a certain degree. It's just like you said. I mean, every parent's got to make this decision for themselves. Yeah. And these kids' parents obviously are okay with their kids playing full contact football at this age. If I had a son, I would not have him in full contact football until he's, middle school or JV size, because that young, even the best helmets and everything else, brain is still developing and all that. I did some government affairs work for the Athletic Trainers Association. Oh, okay.
And
that's cool.
So this is a huge issue, for them because their members are usually the first medical professional that deals with somebody when they've taken a hit to the head, because they're on the field.
Yep.
And I can't speak for them, but I would venture to say that full contact like this should be postponed until that brain is more developed, until the body is stronger, the neck is stronger, all of that. And just like you said, I mean, if I had sons, I would have them in flag football. If they can't catch your flag, if they can't get your flag, they'll never be able to tackle you.
No.
I mean, it's great. It's great training. There are great flag football programs out there.
There really are. There really are. And here's the thing. So we don't know what happened after the video.
Sure.
You can hear the coach kind of trying to say, "Oh, hey, you're okay and everything." I would imagine, and having been a drill team coach back in the day when I was teaching at Plano East Senior High, if one of my girls even remotely looked like a knee popped out after the jump splits or in a stunt or in something that something was going wrong, as their as their one of their coaches, I was literally, I mean, you get from zero to 90 miles an hour real quick sprinting out on the field to check that kid, especially because you're responsible for somebody else's child.
Right.
And we don't know if this is the child. So we don't know what fully goes with this video. We do know, my goodness, just in a day and a half, it's gone from 5 million views to 6.7 million views.
Right. This
has taken off and folks have got opinions. And if you feel like you're, and I guess I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know, I guess because I was so into the stuff that I was into in high school, junior high school, and college. I had the stuff that I dug that was my scene. But I remember thinking, just because that's my gig, I'm not going to push that on my kids. And my kid's dad, and he was athletic. He played football all through high school, very much into sports. And it was one of those things, we had this conversation prior to having kids. Hey, so are we going to say, yep, if we have a son, yep, you're going to play high school football no matter what. If we have a daughter, you're going to be in drill team and theater no matter what. And we had decided, let's let them explore and do their own thing and have their own passions in life, without pushing those on them. How do you know that young of an age that your kid is destined to be, a high school football stud, or
right.
or
this is the age to try a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And so if you're just trying something to see if you like it, see if you're any good at it, flag football is what I would have my kid in.
And why?
You're going to learn how to play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why, especially at such a young age, especially with what, even back, I'm thinking back to like when my brother and I were in, junior high, elementary school age, and my brother played high school in junior high, and there's stuff, we'll laugh about it. I remember, my husband who played, at South Garland played football, and he'll talk about stuff that he's like, oh yeah, and our coach would have us do this, and they would never get away with that. Oh, the stuff that I had to do when I was on drill team in high school. Literally, you did this high school thing to ease on down the road, where you rotated and you kicked and you kicked and you kicked, and this was like for 4 hours twice a day during the summer, and I remember our drill team director, until somebody fell out, you haven't kicked enough yet. You would never do, and then I fast forward to when I was with the Golden Girls at Plano East back in the 90s, we, never would have done something like that. So like when my son was little, and I'm glad, go ahead.
Kim was captain of the drill team at her high school.
I love Lathan's wife, by the way.
I'm pretty sure I could probably text her and find out. I'm pretty sure they had like height and weight requirements.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I mean, you couldn't get away with that now.
Oh, you couldn't put a girl. We did. We had that, and it was one of those things that you would have to do some summer conditioning,
right,
in addition to the 2-a-days. Mm-hmm. You didn't say it was for weight, but it is what it is. Yeah. I remember I was in drill team at what was in Southwest Texas State University. Now it's Texas State Strutters. Phenomenal organization. Loved it. Wouldn't have traded it for the world. But we had our male managers.
Did y'all ever do a routine to the song "Strutter" by Kiss?
No doggone it. That was the only thing that bummed me out. The band couldn't play it, I guess. I don't know. That's hilarious. That's funny, because when I was like, Strutter, I was like, oh, Kiss? Wait a second. Yeah. No. That's because I thought of that. But we had our male managers, the guys who helped us with equipment and were with us for safety and all that kind of stuff, especially when we traveled. They weighed us every Monday, and they were like, Kathy Partridge, blah, blah, blah pounds. Right. And I remember Miss Tidwell, who, just one of the most amazing influences all my life, but she would go up and down the line just for a visual check, and she'd pull you out of the line if you looked good, and she'd be like, ladies, this is proportionate. This is what you should look like. And she would say stuff like, it would be like lettuce. You're like, okay, and then you'd have or eggs and tea. Yeah. I mean, you would have this, and she didn't have to say anything. You'd be like, yeah, okay, so I'm not hitting Taco Bell this week, right, kind of a thing, And thank God my metabolism was crazy fast back then. But I look at when it came time to do sports with both my kids, flag football was the route we chose for right. CJ. We didn't know if he was going to be into sports. Turns out the dude's great at music. That's his gig. Sports was not his gig. Yep. Not that he wasn't a talented athlete. He was a school mascot. He ran track. Played when he was younger, played, baseball, basketball, flag football. And my thing was, because, and even, he's 17 now, and even when he was, this is over 10 years ago, when he was that little, I knew, okay, chances are he's not going to play for the NFL. Even if he turns out to dig this and this is his scene, chances are he's not Dak Prescott. Yeah. Whoever was quarterback at the time for the Dallas Cowboys. And so I'm sitting here thinking that if something happens to him, but I do want him to be a successful student. I do want his brain to be intact for whatever his passion in life is. And flag football was the way to do it. Yeah. You learn all of the rules. Right. It's, again, a lot of times you play sports because it's for the discipline, it's for the teamwork and learning life lessons Absolutely. That will take you down the road. I always told people, and I even cheered professionally for the Dallas Sidekicks, and I'm like, I have never gone into, still to this day, to a job interview and somebody said, let me see you do high kicks, Kathy. But they can tell, okay, she's a team player. She's tenacious. Lathan's like, oh, I'm setting you up on a job interview just for that. That would be funny,
There's bound to be a civil rights complaint in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and so what are y'all's thoughts? Well, here's the thing. Like Fred said that the way that the kid, it looks like there wasn't appropriate training. Where did he say? He said he led with his head, not being taught proper tackling techniques and safety. So that's the thing. And, a lot of times the coaches, I was, the cheer coach for my daughter's team. Well, by no means, I had a lot of experience in that area, but that wasn't my paid gig. I was there as a volunteer. I was a cheer mom. I think of my dad, hi Dad, he's on the feed. He, coached my brother's basketball team for years. Well, my dad loves basketball. He knew how to coach. He motivated the kids. They had a great time. And I'll say this, okay, Stephen Howard, Dad, I know he went on to play for the NBA and he was very successful, and it's because you were his coach in 5th grade. Okay. But you're usually a parent coach, so you don't have the expertise of, somebody like, a Tom Landry or, Jimmy Johnson or somebody.
Well, I mean, there's risk of injury involved in every sport, right?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
You can't eliminate risk. You can do your best to minimize risk.
Yep.
I mean, my
that's kind of what life is about, minimizing risk that will damage your health.
But you can't eliminate it, and everybody knows that, and you have to assume some of that when you put your kid in sports. I mean, my oldest is who turned 17 today. Happy birthday, Ladybug.
Oh, yay! Mwah. Gosh, how are our kids?
She's finishing her junior year. Got 2 weeks left. She'll be a senior.
Wow. I remember when y'all were getting ready to be parents. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Time goes too fast.
Her thing is music and musical theater. Okay?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think this was a year ago or so. They were because they didn't do it last year because of COVID. Of course. So the year prior to that, they were rehearsing. They were for the musical, and there was like a dance number, and the guy's supposed to lift her up, and I don't know what happened, tripped or something. Anyway, they both sort of took a tumble, right, and kind of bumped heads.
Yeah,
it's musical theater,
but if you're doing something that involves choreography,
but she still had to sit out for a day, and go through concussion protocol and make sure that she didn't have one and all that, and then she could come back. All right. So I guess my point is you can't eliminate risk. You should do what you can to minimize it.
Right.
The comment, it didn't look like proper technique, but if you see, like, it's the runner who initiated the hit.
Yes.
He's talking about tackling technique, and you're right. You always say, like, see what you hit, like keep your head up, lead with your shoulders and arms, wrap the guy up and put him down. But that collision is initiated by the runner.
Yeah.
And this is something that drives me nuts about sports and some of we go sort of out of our way with some rules in football, especially trying to make football a, quote, safer sport. It is a violent contact sport, and it always has been, and it always will be.
It's rough, yeah.
And I'm going to go on a rant about football then.
You go on this rant.
So you got all these rules about, and it ends up almost handicapping the defense. If somebody comes across the middle and gets hit hard, it's almost immediately a flag is thrown. But that hit right there, that collision right there, is a perfect example of the offensive player initiating the contact. So that the kid that took the hit that everybody's concerned about, he at least looked like he did have his head up. But even if he's doing it right and he's leading like he's supposed to, if the runner puts his head down, he can't avoid a head-to-head contact.
Even for a split second. And that's the thing, especially when kids are so little. Now, when you're older, you're experienced in a game like football, which is a tough. I mean, if you're ever down on the sidelines for a football game, middle school, high school, certainly college or pro,
you can hear the collision,
and you're just like, Oh, I mean, I know that, I know there are times I've been down on the sidelines in whatever capacity as a performer or as a coach, and not of football. Trust me on that. And I remember hearing some of those hits, going, "Oh, that had to hurt."
Yep.
And you think, is that kid getting up after this one?
Right.
So even I guess to me at a young age, and I'd love to know who I'd love to know the coaches, all this kind of stuff. And I get it. Some parents, I'm going to talk a little bit about one experience, and I don't want to say too much because I don't know if somebody I know they coach a team like this. But I remember when CJ was playing baseball, there was a group. And luckily we were very fortunate with the kids that we were in with a great group of parents. Everybody had the same kind of parenting philosophy for the most part. But I remember playing another team, and the dads all had on the matching tight-fitting version of the kids' baseball jersey. Yeah. They're all tanned up and everything. I mean, they look great. It's all good. Nothing wrong with that. And each kid had a different heavy metal rock song that they entered the field to. Yeah. Yes, like Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
That's a classic.
Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
Which it's all fun, but I remember after each kid went up, if they didn't get to a base, and they annihilated us. Hey, just for the record, because we're all like, oh, we don't have music for our kids. We're just like, woo, go kids,
Yeah.
And they would go and they would kind of hunch over, get down to the kids' face-to-face level and yell at them for not getting on base. And I thought, and they were a very talented team. Maybe they ended up going on to play select, and maybe some of them got scholarships or whatever. So again, not here to judge, but I just always thought, I don't think my kid's going to be playing professional sports. Let him be a kid. There is enough time to get your chops busted when you're an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. Or at least, when you get to high school or varsity or something like that. But
absolutely.
I mean, I played baseball growing up, played basketball.
Yeah.
And my corner of the state up there in Northeast Arkansas, there's a lot of little towns that, little schools, really not enough boys in the school to have a football team. So baseball and basketball are just as important in that area as football.
Football is
we treat it on
like
equal footing as a religion. Right?
Towns close down, and everybody
absolutely.
Everybody's at the local.
I tell you, it was like
game.
If you've ever seen the movie Hoosiers, it's like Hoosiers with Southern accents. That's basically it.
That's such a good movie. Yeah.
But I played baseball, and I look back now. I mean, I remember thinking how cool it was when I was playing, how seriously everybody took our games.
Oh.
And I look back on it now, I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Did y'all not have a life?
Yeah, it's like we're 12 and 13, and I clearly remember like an umpire threatening to literally clear the bleachers. It's like, I will throw every one of you out of this ballpark if you say another word. Like, we came close to like bench clearing brawls with 12-year-olds,
which it's crazy. And Michelle said, most sports are full contact. She said, we just got all sensitive in the newer generation, like hockey. She said, but there's always a fight, and there is. And again, you've got to, as a parent, you've got to determine how serious, what level of seriousness. And you're right. Yeah. I remember my daughter, she played softball, and one in their last year at St. Mark's Catholic School were on the championship. They ended up playing. They were the champions for the softball, for the whole Dallas Catholic Diocese. Great team. And a number of those girls did go on to get scholarships, go on to play at other schools, did great. And I remember our catcher, who was phenomenal, Peyton, she slid. Something happened. Anyway, she just took a chunk of skin off of her leg.
Yep. And
there was a mom for the other team who was like, good. Go get a Band-Aid. I'm like, and Peyton's stuff is all good. She's like, it's all good. Yeah, just, slap some dirt on it.
And I'm like,
Are you kidding me? First of all, as adults, what kind of, what are we modeling for our kids?
Exactly.
So our kids are like, yeah, let's yell at each other.
Right. No, but I bet you, though, that they have the mandatory slide rule. Like you have to slide.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm dating myself a little bit here. But when I was playing, there was no mandatory slide rule. And that game that I was mentioning where I remember the umpire threatening to throw all the parents out, I might have contributed to some of that because it was a close game.
Set you free,
it was a close game, and on 3 separate occasions in this game, there was a play at the plate involving me as the runner and the catcher who's blocking home plate. And all 3 times as I'm rounding third, the third base coach says, as you're basically coming around, take him out because he is blocking the plate. Right?
Yeah.
And the rule is I have basically the right of way.
Yeah.
Right? They teach catchers to block the plate, right? And I ran as hard as I possibly could, and I hit that catcher with everything I had. The first time it knocked his face mask and helmet completely off.
Yeah.
We both tumbled around. I remember laying there kind of dazed, and I hadn't heard the ump say out or safe yet. And so I had to look around to find home plate and reach over and touch it. And he says safe.
Okay.
And when he says safe, the other team's fans just went ballistic. Mom's down on the fence, throw him out of the game. That's my boy. And it happened 2 other times in the same game. And so, it was.
I love it.
Pretty intense. But that's how we thought it was cool because look, this is how they play in the majors.
In the real,
right?
yeah. This is how
there was no
big boys
mandatory
play.
slide rule.
It
was if he's in front of the plate, knock the daylights out of him.
Yeah,
and we did.
Oh, I love it. Well, this is a topic we're going to have to revisit at some point because I think there's just so much that goes into it. It's fascinating, kind of what parents will accept. And then again, I think, it's each parent's, that's your kid. Personally, I saw that and I was like, oh gosh, if that would have been one of my kids, taking a hit like that and I were there, I would have freaked. And I was always one of those, don't react. Kathy, try to be cool. Don't react to this. Yeah. Don't react to this. Everybody's, it's all good. Because you don't want your kid to be like, oh God, mom's coming on the field to cry. So it's interesting. I'd love to know if there's any fallout, and if anybody from the crew knows of any fallout from this video, or if the coach has come on and done a video explanation of what's going on. But anyway, so obviously we could talk about this whole topic just for 2 hours because there's so much that goes into it. I think we've got my son CJ. We have him ready to bring him on the screen. And this will be his first time with the new studio. He's come on the radio show with us multiple times.
He looks surprised.
It's his anime icon. All right, do we have audio and video for CJ?
Hello.
Hey. There he is. Okay, and he's not skipping school. He doesn't have to be to school until 9:25, so it's all good. Oh, CJ, can you turn... does he need to turn his camera, the phone camera, the other way? Siege, if you can turn... Hi, honey. Yeah, up, so you're up and down. Right now, you're sideways. There you go.
There you go.
Good morning, CJ. How are you, my love?
I'm good.
All right.
Tired.
Yeah, no, he's like, wait, what time, Mom?
Yeah.
Okay, so CJ, let's talk about this. Obviously, anybody who's a member of the crew knows I am, I love my kids. I love being a mom. It's the greatest blessing that God has ever given me. Love these two. And CJ, who I am living vicariously through, is about 5 years ago, got into music. It's, again, hey, let your kid do what they love and have their own passion. Don't shove something down their throat. It's kind of my philosophy. And he is a musician and works very hard at it. About 5 years ago, we got involved, started doing some private lessons, started playing at School of Rock. And School of Rock is a place that I highly recommend. They used to be one of our sponsors on our show back when we were doing radio. They're a great organization. So, CJ, what all you started off playing electric guitar? Tell me about kind of where you went from what you started off. Act like I'm not your mom, and tell how you got involved.
Yeah, well, so I started with the electric guitar because I don't know, I just thought that was cool, and then I picked up the acoustic guitar, which is, I mean, the same thing, but and then recently I got a bass guitar, and then I also taught myself how to play keyboards.
I love it.
So yeah.
So, and CJ is, let's talk, you've done School of Rock for a number of years. You are now, talk about the house band that you auditioned for with School of Rock and how that works and some of the recent performances y'all have done since we're kind of getting back to the concert world. Thank the good Lord.
Amen.
Since the pandemic. Tell us about the house band at School of Rock, and did you audition for that? Again, act like I don't know anything.
Yeah, so it's like their advanced performance group. So you audition for it, and you get in or not based on how your audition went. And you talk about like some music theory stuff, and you perform like a song.
What did you audition with?
Sorry, what was that?
What did you audition with? What song?
I did. What did I do? It was a Rolling Stones song. It was I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
There you go. Yeah,
a great Keith
Lathan
Richards
and I are
riff.
like, oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
No, go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, we play some shows like outside of our normal mid-season and end-of-season shows. So like recently we played at there was like a guitar fest in Dallas we played at, and there was a fundraiser at like a Harley Davidson we played at, and so those are a lot of fun.
Love it. Well, and then in addition to that, CJ has also has his own band. So let's talk about what's the name of your band. Do you have any, have you had a gig, or do you have any gigs coming up? Do y'all do original stuff, cover tunes? What do you do?
Yeah, so a couple months ago, me and my friends started a band called Everyday People, and we've been writing music and practicing. And so a week from today, actually, we have our first show. It's like a music festival kind of thing with a bunch of kids from Booker T. Washington, if you know what high school that is. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited. We've been practicing for a long time, so.
I love it. And it's so interesting because they got this playing gig. I mean, they literally have their first playing gig in Denton, Texas, a week from today. I think it's like 10:30 at night or something. So I'm gonna have to take a nap at 7 o'clock and then drive out to Denton. So, and I think the cool thing is, this is, so I'm like, oh, well, so what songs will I know that y'all are going to play? And he's like, well, none of them. I'm like, well, I know I'm not a hipster, but he's like, no, Mom, this is all our original music. So, here,
Good for you.
I just have so much respect for CJ because he loves this. He's done all of this on his own. He's pursued these different avenues on his own. And he loves playing the instruments, challenging himself to learn new instruments, and then also, music writing. I mean, how cool is that? So so you've learned of an opportunity this summer, and you've got an ask here on the show today. So let's talk about what your goal is currently for what's coming up this summer.
Okay, so where do I start? So I'm a junior in high school right now, so obviously that means I'm going to be going to college fairly soon. I need to start looking at that. And as a musician, I want to pursue that as a career. So there's a college, some of you may know of it, a college in Boston called Berklee College of Music.
Yes,
it's
I know it well.
That's right. Hey, by the way, CJ, Lathan, whose daughter's in musical theater, that's her number one choice for college too.
That's one of she has two dream schools, and that's one of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's like my dream college because that's what I want to do with my life. So I really want to go there, and it's it's not exactly easy to get in because it's, you know, it's very prestigious, I guess. So what I want to do is over the summer, they have a program where you go down to the campus for 5 weeks in Boston, and you get like instruction from their professors there, and you perform with like other students who are doing it, and it's just like a really cool experience. Looks great on a resume, and so I really want to do that, but it is really expensive, and I just recently found out about it. So I've started a GoFundMe, which is like a crowdfunding thing. I'm sure y'all know what that is.
Yep.
To raise the money for it. So I guess that's why I'm here.
Well, and do you want to play a little? Are you ready? Are you warmed up? Your fingers warmed up enough to play a little something on one of your guitars this morning?
Yep.
Gonna get a little acoustic guitar this morning.
I should have brought mine.
That would have been great.
Okay. Do I just start whenever?
Yeah, go for it.
Cut loose.
Okay. Can y'all hear it?
Oh yeah, you sound great.
Okay. I'm just all right. Okay.
Well, I'm officially jealous.
Wow. That sounds awesome, Siege.
Hey, your guitar
that's good
is
stuff.
much fancier than mine. What are you playing?
He may be so into the music he
Yeah, he
doesn't
can't
hear
hear
us.
He's already got rock star hair.
I know. I'm like,
Got it down.
dude, you've got great hair
Yeah.
for the music world.
Yeah.
Got our own little concert. I love this. Wow.
Well done.
I love it.
Thank you.
It's CJ. I just, I mean, I'm his mom. I'm super proud. Oh, I love it. We've got the applause button going on.
Yes.
I'm super proud, and I love it because, music is such a big part. And growing up, music's always been just a huge part of my family, and I love that that we've passed that down to the kids, and that CJ's taking it and running with it. And I mean, in a world where you tried, it's so hard to be a parent right now, but in a world where you've got kids who are taking their extra time, and especially during the pandemic, he says in his GoFundMe page, music is my life. And during the pandemic, that was his lifeline, even when they could only meet for rehearsals online. So CJ, how can people donate? And we know this is a lofty goal. So CJ, talk about the goal. His dad and I have agreed to pay for a portion of it if he raises a certain amount of money, but this is a big chunk of change. He realizes that, and he knows he's only got a couple of weeks to raise it. So if you feel inclined to share and I'll have CJ send me the link. If you feel inclined to share his GoFundMe page, well, it'd be appreciated. So how much is it, CJ? And if for some reason you're unable to raise those funds, what would that money go towards?
So it's around $9,000 for the whole thing that we need to raise. That's a lot. It's a lot of money, I know, but I guess might as well try.
Absolutely.
You never know until you try.
Yep.
So yeah, and if we don't raise the money in time, then that money will either go to like my college or just other music related endeavors, like buying new instruments or new equipment or stuff like that.
Well, so this is through GoFundMe, right, CJ? And how can they find that link? What do we do? And let's ask folks to share it and try to bust a move and get that money and get you to Boston this summer.
Yeah, so I've set the page up so it's ready. You can donate on it, and I'm sure y'all are going to be sharing it.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
We'll think about it.
Okay. We didn't really talk about this. I don't know.
All right, CJ. Well, hey, thanks for coming on.
CJ, real quick, who's your favorite guitar player?
I don't know. I'm not super into the whole. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate coming on saying this. I'm not super into the whole classic rock scene. I
don't care. Who do you like? Who do you like to listen to?
Well, I listen to a lot of indie music. And I should say, I can't take credit for that song I played. That song is Terminal Paradise by Adrienne Lenker. She's a artist that I really like. She has some really cool guitar in her songs. So, yeah, that was not my song. I wish it was. But
I know the feeling.
You did it justice. Well, all right, Siege, proud of you. And anybody from the crew, I'll be posting this on my Facebook. JP's going to help me promote this GoFundMe page. And, and CJ said, hey, it's not the most noble cause, but you know what? I respect him for going out there and saying, hey, my parents aren't just going to write me a check for $8,000, $9,000 and just say, okay, yeah, go for it. I hope it works out. And I respect the heck out of you, Siege, for putting yourself out there like this and going for your dreams. Just keep reaching for the stars, sweetie. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you. Have a lot of fun.
Okay. Have a great day at school, hon.
Bye, you guys. Thank you.
Bye. You bet, hon. I told him, I said, he's like, well, I could do. So when we started talking about this, we said, well, and another thing that I also respect, his dad and I had said, okay, well, this summer you spend this amount, I'll spend this amount. We've got X amount, and he's going to get a very used car so he can get to work this summer. and to and from work. And he said, if I get close enough to my goal, and y'all end up putting in that very last little amount, which isn't a whole lot, but it's a little. Yeah. He said, then all of the money I make in June before I leave for this music camp, he said, I'll buy my own car. And I said, you know what? You got to respect that. Yep. You got to respect that. So, well, then let's close out the show with your segment, since we just had, music, and now we're going to be talking about karaoke. No, but, let's talk about this, because I think this is a fun topic.
With his talent and that hair, he's never allowed to date my daughter.
Okay. So we're not introducing them at this point. Okay. Well, if they end up at Berklee together.
Yeah, I know. They'll end up on the road somewhere, and we'll never see him again.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Sure, he's a good kid.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, so let's talk about music, and let's talk about, music is a lifeline. And for me, if I'm upset about something, first of all, turning on a good worship song. Lisa, who's my co-host on Heart and Soul of Texas Women, she always says you can't worry in worship. So, I'm one of those. If I'm in a bad mood, if I'm upset, if I'm celebrating, if I'm cooking in the kitchen, it's music I turn to.
Of course, and
we'll wait and play the music. We're gonna go a couple of minutes past the hour, but yeah.
I think, and this is, again, the world according to Watts. I think God invented music because He knew that there would be emotions his children would experience that words would not be enough.
I think that is so eloquently put.
And it's one of the few things that He commands us to do in worship.
Yeah.
The man that He Himself said was a man after His own heart, David, was a poet, a musician, and a songwriter.
Yeah.
In addition to being a shepherd and a king and all those other things.
Right.
But poet, musician,
he had a great resume.
Songwriter.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite chapters in the Bible is when God finally answers Job, and he goes through, even though he's really dressing Job down, it is a beautiful description of creation, much more than the Genesis account. And one of the first things he asked him is, tell me, Job, were you there when I laid the foundation of the earth and the stars and angels sang together? Like, music was around before anything was around. Right. And I love it, and I take it probably way too seriously. It impacts me probably way too much.
Well, it's part of who you are, and Lathan, and we're going to be promoting whenever Lathan's, now that, again, pandemic's lifting and, places, concert venues are starting to have bands again. Whenever your band's playing, we're definitely going to let the crew know about it. So we'll be out there.
Yep, we're in the process of kind of booking some stuff right now. So.
Love it. Okay. So your go-to, are you a shower singer? You're not karaoke.
I'm not karaoke. Most days I'm showering at the gym before I go to work, and so I'm not going to subject a bunch of middle-aged dudes in the in the gym shower. Second verse, same as the first. But I guess occasionally, on the weekend when I'm not at the gym and I'm showering home, sometimes I wake up with a song in my head, and the only way to get it out of my head is to sing it.
You got it, yeah.
And that could be anything from it may be a Johnny Cash song, it might be a Ray Charles song, it might be, because I'll do this thing where I'll get really obsessed with something for a while.
Yep.
I sort of rediscovered recently the Willie Nelson song "Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground," which is I think maybe my favorite Willie Nelson song of all time. And that guy's written a ton of good songs, but I think it's got to be top 5, maybe one of the best songs he's ever written.
Yep.
And so when I get that stuck in my head like that, if I was in the shower, I was probably singing "Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground."
Yeah.
Or occasionally, if Kim's milling around, I'll sing something that I know is going to annoy her. Like I'll do a George Jones impression, saying "He stopped loving her today," because I know it's going to just make her skin crawl.
Oh, I love it. Well, we want to hear from the crew. What's your go-to song? What do you listen to? What do you sing? And everybody sings, even if you're a horrible singer. Yeah. I can semi-decently carry a tune if it's the right song. And I don't care. I'm singing loud and proud. Even on Mother's Day, we started this. We go with my mom to a tea room, but last year when we couldn't because of the pandemic, the kids, we hung out, and I got to choose the musical of my choice, and we sang, and so we were carrying that tradition. So Sunday it was Grease, and well, CJ was rolling his eyes. Emily and I were singing. Let's just put it that way, But I love and my dad's still on the feed. My dad started me out early with I remember he had this Hootenanny book, and he and I both played the piano. My dad also plays the banjo, the guitar, the bass fiddle, and we would sing Peter, Paul, and Mary and Kingston Trio. Kingston Trio will go down as one of my favorite bands. Kingston Trio and Van Halen and the Go-Go's. Now you kind of understand my personality, And I love. Just the other night, I was cooking, and I was singing the music from A Chorus Line. So like your daughter being into musical theater. Boy, there is not a show tune that I did not meet and fall in love with.
There is literally always somebody in my house either singing or playing. Almost at all times.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Because Max she plays piano, ukulele.
Yep.
Ashton plays piano, violin, and guitar.
Yeah.
I play a little bit of guitar. So one of us usually at all times is doing something. I can either hear McKenna takes voice lessons. I can either hear her with her whatever song she's working on for voice lessons, and we got her little keyboard for a room so she could practice with that, or I can hear Ashton upstairs practicing violin, or I'm sitting in the living room playing
around. Yeah, I love it.
It's.
Music's huge.
It is. I mean, when we found out we were going to have children, most people, like I said, Kim and I were both musical people. We met in the choir, all this. Most people are like, well, we just want this child to be healthy, and that we were, of course, that way. But but our one of our concerns was, what if this child comes out and cannot sing? What are we going to do?
All. No.
What? How? What? So we took earbuds and we're playing classical music to Kim's belly. Just had it on her belly, just playing Mozart and then of course I was playing some Ray Charles and some other stuff.
Okay, let's talk about your pets' names before we sign off for the weekend.
I'm in charge of naming the pets, and they're all musically themed. So I started. For a while, I was literally the only male mammal in the house. And so even the pets were all female. And so I was naming them after famous women in song.
Right.
And so we had the Cocker Spaniel that we had was Maggie May from the Rod Stewart song.
Great.
We got a cat named Layla from Clapton song.
Love it, yeah.
Then Kim decided she needed a son. So the next cat was this red tabby. So he's Willie Nelson.
Absolutely.
Right?
No duh.
Of course. Because there's not as many songs about dude names.
Yes.
So I just started naming them after great musicians.
Yeah.
And so then the youngest, whose birthday was yesterday, happy birthday, buddy, he's 4, and he's a beagle named Merle Haggard.
I love it.
And he goes by Haggard.
I love it. I love it. Music's just, music's great. And whatever generation, whatever genre, type of music you like, there's nothing better. And I tell you what, the thing that I'm looking the most forward to with the pandemic lifting is getting back to a concert. Small venue, large venue. There's just nothing better than music. It's great, and it's universal, and music doesn't care what political affiliation you are. Music doesn't care what color you are. Music doesn't care if you're male or female. It's just there to enjoy,
Absolutely.
So, get a song in your heart this weekend. But Lathan, thank you so much. We love it when you're on the show. And then Lathan will be looking for his new show here soon on our JP, Kathy, and the Crew network. So just super excited and love having
May 28th
you in today. And
will be the first episode.
And then I'll put the link for CJ's GoFundMe. If you feel so inclined, throw some cash his way. Hey, it's a kid trying to live out his dreams, and I respect that. So we love y'all. Have a blessed weekend. Mwah.